to try and pick up that fourth foul.
18 now for DeJounte, and almost taken away. It is taken away. Showtime. Go for it. Pels by 4.
Oh, man. Great timed hit, and you know what's coming.
I want to make some points about Zion.
Okay.
Does not run hard. It's not a diss. It's going to be a lesson from one great big man to another guy that could be a great man.
Shaq was right about Zion Williamson, and it's getting harder to deny. The man who called himself the president of dominant big men said something about Zion Williamson that nobody replayed. He doesn't run hard. He doesn't create easy baskets for himself. It looks like he's not even really ready. Not a rival, not a bitter commentator with an agenda. One of the few players in NBA history to win Finals MVP 3 times, and one of only 2 to win it 3 years in a row. 1,207 career games, 4 championships.
O'Neal runs the floor, takes it all the way!
He picks it up, puts it down again, and Shaw very alertly gets out of the way.
The most physically dominant big man the modern game had ever produced.
One of the most dominant forces I ever seen play the game.
And then he said something the cameras barely caught. We only criticize people that we like. We only criticize people that we really believe in. That line was not an attack, it was a warning. And it told you everything about what Shaq actually saw when he watched Zion Williamson. In the next few minutes, you will understand exactly what he meant. June 20th, 2019, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson first overall in the NBA draft. Nobody debates it, nobody argues.
With the first pick in the 2019 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson from Duke University.
At 6 feet 6 inches and 284 pounds, Williamson had done things at Duke that nobody at his size had ever done. He had ball handling that belonged to a point guard, speed that left defenders standing, explosiveness so extreme that his shoes split apart under the force of a single cut during a nationally televised game.
Plants right here. His foot comes out of his shoe.
He was the most physically extraordinary prospect the college game had seen in a generation. But before Zion played a single regular season minute, the story changed. October 13th, 2019.
Breaking news out of New Orleans. According to reports, Zion Williamson will now miss a period of several weeks to start the regular season. It's a right knee injury, but it's not expected to be severe. Zion was averaging over 23 points per game this preseason. Shannon, what's your reaction?
I can't say I'm surprised. Skip, I think he's going to have to lose 10 to 15% of his body weight. He's just too heavy.
Right knee meniscus tear in a preseason game. Surgery. 44 games missed.
All right, let's talk more about Zion's knee injury, that torn meniscus. So what is that, and why can it take 6 to 8 weeks to return to the court?
What happens is the piece gets sort of irregular where it flips back and forth in the joint, and that's where the pain comes from. If he tries to run, cut, that little piece of meniscus that's torn is getting caught between the 2 ends of the bone. He's a big guy, and because of his size, you may want to wait, the extra week or 2
before he ever stepped on an NBA floor for real. January 22nd, 2020, he finally debuts. 22 points, 18 minutes, a fourth quarter where he scores 17 consecutive points in just over 3 minutes.
And finally, the Pelicans secure a rebound. Up ahead, Zion. 1-on-3, bring it home! The Z-Train!
In just 24 games that rookie season, Williamson averages 22.5 points on 58.3% shooting. He becomes the first teenager in NBA history to score 20 or more points in 10 consecutive games. People stopped watching to see what Zion would do. They started watching to see if anybody could stop him. Then the 2020 season happened. In 61 games, Zion scored 27 points per game on 61.1% shooting.
Who took it away from John Morant?
Watch Zion, weak side. Watch Zion,
Here
weak
he
side.
comes. Yes, he's got it.
Zion, weak side.
During that run, Williamson ties Shaquille O'Neal's mark of 25 straight games with 20-plus points on 50% shooting. The player he tied, the same man now sitting behind a desk on TNT, telling him he isn't ready. That was the kind of number Shaq would understand immediately. Here's what it means. Across that stretch, Williamson was not just scoring. He was scoring efficiently, inside traffic.
And Zion clears out. Up against Dort. Nice jump. He saw it coming.
Against prepared defenses, night after night. At an age, most players are still fighting for rotation minutes. The ceiling Shaq saw was not a guess. It was a calculation based on a record that used to belong to him. To understand what Shaq was saying, you have to understand what he was. Shaquille O'Neal, 7 feet 1 inch, 325 pounds. He had career averages of 23.7 points and 10.9 rebounds across 1,207 NBA games. He had 4 championships, 3 finals MVPs, and 1 regular season MVP. And the one thing he talked about publicly as a regret was his body, his conditioning. His own weight once climbed past 400 pounds before Pat Riley's arrival in Miami forced a reckoning. The invisible work, the nutrition, the recovery, the discipline nobody films was not always there.
I wish he was in the gym. I would have had fucking 12 rings.
If Shaq had took this thing serious with conditioning eating, Skip, you're not going very far without saying Shaq's not the greatest.
He had lived it. He knew exactly what a player like Zion faced when the cameras turned off. That is why his words in December 2023 carried so much weight that a columnist could not carry. That is why they were not optional for Zion to hear. September 2021, before the 2021-22 season begins, Williamson suffers a Jones fracture in his right foot. He has surgery. He was expected back in November, then December, then January. He never comes back. He misses the entire 2021-22 season. The Pelicans make the playoffs anyway. They push the Phoenix Suns to 6 games in the first round without their number 1 pick, their franchise player, their entire reason for the rebuild. Nobody says it out loud, but the thought is already there. What if this is just who Zion is? 2022-2023, he returns. The numbers are staggering again. 26 points per game on 60.8% shooting. The Pelicans go 17-12 in the 29 games that Zion plays. His scoring efficiency puts him among the most dominant offensive players in the league when available.
It's Zion off a high screen, going at it. He's going to the line of the thrust and the bump by Gobert.
Then January 2nd, a right hamstring injury against the 76ers.
With 26 points, it looked like he pulled up right here, AD. Right side.
He never plays another game that season. New Orleans reaches the play-in, but loses to Oklahoma City without him. 2 seasons, 2 injuries, 1 playoff series, and 1 play-in exit that happened without him. By then, the word around Zion was impossible to avoid. Pattern. December 20th, 2023, TNT broadcast. Shaq and Charles Barkley addressed the criticism directly. Barkley had already made the joke that Williamson looked like, in his words, me and Shaq had a baby.
Chuck, you had a visceral reaction to this.
It looked like me and Shaq had a baby.
That line circulates everywhere. Everybody laughs. Everybody moves on. But Shaq's statement is different. He says he watched Williamson and saw a player who doesn't run hard, doesn't create easy baskets for himself. He said that he was telling Zion, if you do this, you can get to the next level. We only criticize people that we like. We only criticize the people that we believe in. Williamson hears it. He says, if it comes from a great place, if they just want him to do better, thank you. Shaq's response? That measured answer shows he isn't ready. A player who is truly ready does not say thank you. He proves you're wrong. That is the difference Shaq was pointing at. Not the jump shot, not the weight alone. The fire. 2023-2024. Something shifts. Williamson plays 70 games, the most of his career. He averages 22.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. The playmaking element has become real. The efficiency is still elite.
They are 5 of 11 overall. Nice crossover.
The Pelicans reach the play-in tournament. April 16th, 2024. Play-in tournament. He scores 40 points against the Los Angeles Lakers. 11 rebounds, 5 assists. A performance that belongs in a different story.
Here come the Pelicans with a chance to tie inside. Zion Williamson! We are tied!
The story of a player who showed up when it mattered most. Then, in the final minutes of that game, his left hamstring goes. It does not come back. The Pelicans lose. They're swept by Oklahoma City in the first round without him. He had never played an official NBA playoff game. He still hasn't. Shaq had weight issues too. Shaq missed games. The Lakers eventually traded him partly because of his conditioning and contract demands. But across 1,207 games, you could build a system around him. Teams ran their entire identity through his body because he was there. Coaches could plan a season knowing he would be present. Zion has never given New Orleans that foundation. Every offensive system built around him comes with the same quiet asterisk. Unless the foot holds, unless the hamstring holds, unless this offseason was finally different. The Pelicans have had 4 head coaches during Williamson's tenure: Alvin Gentry, Stan Van Gundy, Willie Green, and interim James Borrego. New Orleans traded CJ McCollum. They traded Brandon Ingram. They're not building around what is, they're clearing space to wait. The moment people remember is the wait joke, but that was Barkley. Shaq's sentence, the one nobody replayed, was this: if you do this, you can get to the next level. That is the sentence of a man who believes the ceiling is still there, not a eulogy. It's a challenge. Shaq was not saying Zion's career was over. He was saying it had not started, not yet, not at the level Shaq could see. A record that used to belong to Shaq, a ceiling only Shaq understood, a warning only Shaq was qualified to give. The 2024-2025 season, Williamson is 24 years old. He plays just 30 games. A left hamstring strain in November cost him 27 games. A lower back bone contusion in March ends his season early. The Pelicans, they finished with one of the worst records in the Western Conference. The 2025-26 season, he is 25 years old. By mid-April 2026, he had played 62 games, his healthiest season since 2023-2024, and the second most games of his career. And yet, when the final numbers land, the career total is impossible to ignore. Over his NBA career, Williamson has now missed 280 of 556 regular season games. The Pelicans finished 2025-2026 at 26 wins and 56 losses. That is not a bad stretch. That is a career-defining fact. He is 25 years old. He has never played a minute of official NBA playoff basketball. After the 2025-2026 season, he talked about accountability, frustration, a different summer, and adding unpredictability to his game. He had said something like that before, but Shaq still hasn't stopped watching. We only criticize people that we like. We only criticize the people that we believe in. The question that cannot be avoided: what if the most gifted player of his generation becomes the greatest example of what almost happened? Or what if, exactly like Shaq said, this has always been a player we criticize because we believe in him? The clock is still running. It has never run louder. If this is your first time here, welcome to Rattling the Rim, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If this video changed the way you see Zion, hit that like button and drop your take in the comments. Do you think Shaq's ceiling for Zion is still reachable? Enter the conversation. Let's build a great community. And if you want to be here when the next truth lands, please subscribe. We're just getting started. We'll see you on the next one. Rattling the Rim is where the truth shatters the backboard.